The Nightly Business Report.
Good evening. Tonight, for the fourth quarter of this year, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka has predicted an improvement in demand and sales volumes, predicting development in all three of the country's main economic sectors. In response to increased advertising on automobile importation, the government reveals preparations to start imposing conditional imports. The market showed encouraging momentum on the third trading day of the week, with the ASPI and S&P SL20 both holding on to their gains. As the indices continued to rise, the upward trend demonstrated investor confidence. And over in the US, as investors awaited important inflation data that could impact the Federal Reserve's next interest rate decisions, Wall Street's major indexes ended the day down as losses in the technology sector offset gains in communication services.
From Studio 24, here's Anuradhi Vikramasinghe.
A very good evening and thank you for joining us. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka has forecasted an improvement in demand and sales volumes for the fourth quarter of this year, projecting growth across all three major economic sectors. The bank anticipates a positive year-on-year performance supported by continued economic growth in the coming months.
According to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka's Business Outlook survey, demand is expected to grow by 1 index point to 137 in Q4 2024, while sales volumes are forecasted to rise by 4 points to 141. Capacity utilization is also expected to improve in line with the growth in demand and sales. Firms reported a year-on-year increase in both input and output prices for Q3 2024. The investment outlook is positive, with the investment index projected to rise to 123 from 107 in Q4, driven by growth across all major economic sectors. Most firms plan to invest in expansion rather than maintaining existing facilities. Additionally, firms in services sectors expect further increases in both input and output prices in Q4 2024. Tight credit conditions continued in the third quarter, with respondents citing higher credit standards in banks' lending facilities as the main reason for the continued restrictions.
The government has announced plans to potentially begin conditional vehicle imports following increased advertising on vehicle importation.
Cabinet spokesperson Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa announced that the government may soon begin importing vehicles, but the decision will be subject to certain conditions. He clarified that, however, no final decision has been made yet. Jayatissa also warned against misleading advertisements claiming that vehicles are being imported and encouraging people to deposit money. He urged the public to exercise caution, noting that such false advertising could have a significant negative impact on the economy. The government has not yet determined which types of vehicles will be imported, according to Jayatissa. This statement comes after the Vehicle Importers Association of Sri Lanka revealed their plans to resume vehicle imports by February next year. The announcement of the potential vehicle imports is a step toward addressing the ongoing demand for vehicles in the country. The government continues to assess the situation to ensure that any import decisions align with the economic priorities.
The governments of Sri Lanka and the Korea International Cooperation Agency have formalized their partnership to advance environmental sustainability with the signing of the Developing Sustainable Integrated Solid Waste Management Project in Uva and Northern Provinces. The signing ceremony took place at the Ministry of Public Administration, Provincial Council and Local Government, with the participation of key officials including Ms. Kim Myong-jin, the Country Director for COICA Sri Lanka, and Mr. Aloka Bandara, the Secretary to the ministry. The project, with a $11 million investment from COICA, will focus on improving solid waste management in the Badulla and Vauniawa districts. It aims to strengthen the capacity of Sri Lankan officials and introduce best practices from Korea. Additionally, the initiative will enhance the infrastructure for waste management in these regions. The project reflects a significant step towards addressing the growing waste management challenges in Sri Lanka. Adani Ports will finance its Colombo terminal project through internal accruals, withdrawing its funding request from the US DFC.
Adani Ports and Special Economic Zone Limited announced that it will fund its Colombo West International Terminal project through internal accruals, withdrawing its previous request of $553 million from the US International Development Finance Corporation. The project, partly owned by the Adani Group, is progressing well and is expected to be commissioned by early 2025. Adani holds a 51% stake in the terminal, with Sri Lankan conglomerate John Keel's Holdings owning 34% and the state-run Sri Lanka Ports Authority holding the remainder. The terminal also has a facility operated by China Merchants Port Holdings Company Limited. Recently, US authorities accused Adani Group chairman Gautam Adani and others of involvement in a $265 million bribery scheme and misleading US investors. The Adani Group has denied the allegations, called them baseless, and stating it will pursue legal action.
The National Packaging Centre of the EDB is playing a crucial role in promoting Sri Lanka's packaging industry by supporting various stakeholders, including exporters, manufacturers and SMEs. A recent awareness session was held at the Export Development Board, focusing on packaging solutions for fruits and vegetable sectors. The session aimed to reduce post-harvest losses, which account for 20 to 30% of vegetables and 15% to 20% of fruits in Sri Lanka, by improving packaging techniques. Inadequate packaging has been identified as a major contributor to these losses. The session, attended by 70 exporters and potential exporters, was conducted in collaboration with packaging experts and the National Plant Quarantine Service. This initiative is expected to enhance the value of export products and contribute to sustainable growth in the agricultural export sector. Let's take a short break now. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. On the third trading day of the week, the market displayed a positive momentum, with both the S&P SL20 and ASPI continuing to maintain their gains. The upward trend reflected investor confidence as the indices sustained their growth. For further insights, we speak with Ranjan Ranatunga from First Capital Holdings.
The Colombo continued its upward trajectory for the 12th consecutive day and recorded an intraday gain of 110 points to close the day at a refreshed all-time high of 13,885. The growth in today's market was predominantly driven by the LOC Group companies, including the LOC Group, Browns Investment and LOC Finance, while tourism as well as plantation sector saw renewed interest. The comforting gain on the index was also supported by the LKR 6 billion turnover, which surpassed the daily average turnover of 4.1 billion. The increased participation in the equity market was driven largely by the high net worth and retail investors, while foreign activity remains subdued. Meanwhile, the banking sector, which has been one of the key drivers in the equity markets post-elections, was seen a subdued note, with profit-taking and mixed interest visible during the day. Meanwhile, Ceylon Beverage Holdings, PMM Finance, Oran Finance, Laugh Power and CT Land Developments were among the top gainers for the day, while UB Finance, HVA Foods, Agarapatana Plantations, Kotagal Plantations and Tea Smallholder Factories were the top losers for the day. Thank you.
Sri Lanka's bond yields continued their downward trend, with bonds maturing in 2026, 2027 and 2028 experiencing yield declines, signaling positive market momentum. For further insights, we speak with Zaima Jehan from First Capital Holdings.
The CBSL conducted the weekly T-bill auction today, raising 206 billion rupees. So at the auction, the total offered amount was fully accepted from each maturity, while the weighted average yields saw a decline across the board. So accordingly, the 3-month bill saw a 4 basis points decline, closing at 8.69%, while the 6-month bill saw a 5 basis point decline, closing at 8.88% amid a higher reception. However, 1-year bill saw only a marginal decline of 1 basis point, closing at 9.07%. Meanwhile, CBSL is expecting to raise another 132.5 billion rupees through a T-bond auction, which is scheduled for tomorrow. 77.5 billion rupees are being raised from the 15th September 2029 maturity, while another 55 billion rupees is being raised from the 1st June 2033 maturity. So with this, a total of 338.5 billion rupees is being expected to be raised through the primary auctions over this week. while there is 225.9 billion rupees worth of bills maturing for this week ending to be settled by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. So since last week's auction, the secondary market has been seeing a mixed interest predominantly on short to mid tenors. However, buying interest emerged strongly during yesterday's session and extended to today's trading session as well, with a considerable improvement in volumes.
Gold prices traded mostly flat today as investors awaited a key U.S. inflation report, which could impact expectations of a Federal Reserve interest rate cut next week and provide further insights into their 2025 outlook. Spot gold remains steady at $2,689.42 per ounce, having reached its highest level since last week earlier in the session. U.S. gold futures rose by 0.3% to $2,725.50, and market participants are keen to assess how the inflation data will influence the Fed's future policy decisions. Analysts are closely watching gold's performance amid shifting expectations of the interest rates. The metal continues to attract attention as a safe haven investment in uncertain economic times. Oil prices edged higher today, fueled by expectations of increased demand in China, the world's largest crude importer, following Beijing's announcement of a relaxation in monetary policy aimed at stimulating economic growth. Brent crude futures rose by 24 cents or 0.3% to $72.43 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures gained 24 cents or 0.4% to $68.83. This positive momentum comes as Chinese crude imports saw their first annual growth in 7 months in November, rising more than 14% compared to the previous year. Market participants are closely monitoring these developments, anticipating further demand recovery in the world's second largest economy. The Sri Lankan rupee remains steady against the US dollar in commercial banks today, maintaining yesterday's levels. At commercial bank, the buying rate of the US dollar has decreased while the selling rate remained unchanged. Let's now take a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee is performing against other global currencies. A short break now. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back. HEYCARB PLC has announced the establishment of a new activated carbon plant in the Philippines with an initial investment of $8 million. This move marks a significant step in the company's global expansion strategy.
HEYCARB PLC subsidiary HEYCARB Philippines Corporation has received approval from the Board of Investments in the Philippines to establish a new facility in Cagayan de Oro. The facility's first phase is set to be completed by June 2026, marking a key milestone in HEYCARB's global expansion strategy. This project is part of a broader effort to grow the company's operations over the next 5 to 6 years. HEYCARB aims to meet the rising global demand for activated carbon through this new facility. The initiative will also help strengthen the company's position in international markets. The project reflects HEYCARB's commitment to achieving its growth objectives and expanding its global footprint. The company anticipates that the new facility will enhance its ability to serve customers worldwide and supports its long-term strategic goals.
JAT has unveiled its innovative JAT Lifestyle Studio in Colombo, marking a significant milestone in Sri Lanka's design industry. The grand opening, held last week, attracted a distinguished group of architects, interior designers, and key industry figures. The studio showcases JAT's commitment to redefining luxury home and office spaces, featuring renowned global brands and bespoke design experiences. It focuses on premium ergonomic office furniture and luxury bespoke kitchens, offering Sri Lankans access to world-class interiors. With exclusive partnerships with brands like Herman Miller, Seaform and Opane, the Jat Lifestyle Studio combines modern elegance and functionality. This launch underscores Jat's vision of bringing global design excellence to Sri Lanka, enhancing lifestyles with innovative solutions. Hales Fentons Limited, in partnership with StarCharge Digital Energy, is set to transform Sri Lanka's electric vehicle landscape by establishing a comprehensive EV charging infrastructure.
Hales Fentons Limited has partnered with StarCharge Digital Energy to develop a nationwide electric vehicle charging infrastructure in the country. This initiative aims to address challenges like range anxiety and improve accessibility for EV users across the country. The partnership will introduce high-capacity, ultra-fast charging stations enabling drivers to charge their vehicles up to 80% in just 15 minutes. Hales Fentons, known for its leadership in solar energy, will leverage its reputation for high-quality products and excellent after-sales services to bring reliable charging solutions to the market. The collaboration also expands Hales Solar's portfolio, reinforcing the company's commitment to renewable energy and green innovation. Together, the two companies aim to accelerate adoption of EVs and support Sri Lanka's transition to sustainable energy.
NDB Bank's Islamic banking arm, NDB Sharik, has solidified its leadership in the sector by winning multiple prestigious awards at the 9th Islamic Finance Forum of South Asia Awards in Colombo. The bank secured the Gold Award for Islamic Banking Window and Unit of the Year and another Gold for Deal of the Year for its collaboration with a leading feed manufacturer in Sri Lanka. Fahmi Ibrahim was also honoured with the Silver Award for Rising Star of the Year. The IFFSA Awards recognize outstanding contributions to the Islamic banking and finance industry across South Asia, celebrating innovation, performance and social responsibility. This recognition comes as NDB Sharik marks its 10th anniversary, during which it has consistently offered a wide range of Sharia-compliant financial solutions, making a significant impact on individuals and businesses. Muthoot Finance and Asia Asset Finance PLC celebrated a decade of partnership this week, transforming financial services, promoting financial inclusion and empowering communities with innovative solutions.
Muthoot Finance and Asia Asset Finance PLC celebrated a decade of successful partnership, marking significant milestones in financial growth. Asia Asset Finance's total asset base reached 32.28 billion rupees, reflecting a 24.74% year-on-year growth. The loan portfolio also grew by 5.5 billion rupees, bringing the total lending base to 26.1 billion rupees. This growth demonstrates the company's customer-focused approach and success in offering innovative lending solutions. The company's return on equity reached 16.38%, a 102% increase from the previous year, showcasing strong financial performance. Looking forward, the partnership is focusing on digital transformation to enhance its products and services. Also aims to empower Sri Lankan women and improve rural livelihoods through outreach programs. Together, the partners are committed to sustainable growth and continued innovation in the financial sector.
SBS.com Office Solutions has opened a new experience center in Battaramulla, showcasing the latest in security and communication technology. The center features Hikvision cameras and Grand Stream intercom systems, allowing customers to explore cutting-edge IT solutions. As an authorized Hikvision partner, SBS ensures all installations and services are supervised by the global security leader. The Experience Center aims to provide tailored solutions for dealers and customers seeking advanced products. Visitors can explore the center and receive personalized service at no charge. This initiative reflects SBS's commitment to driving innovation and empowering businesses with the latest technology in Sri Lanka. Let's take a short commercial break. Global business updates coming on the other side. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. Asian stocks showed mixed performance today as investors remain cautious ahead of a key US inflation report, while Chinese stocks gained in anticipation of further government stimulus. The Shanghai Composite Index rose by 0.4% and the Shanghai Shenzhen CSI 300 Index increased by 0.2%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index surged 0.8%, building on earlier gains this week. In contrast, Japan's Nikkei 225 dropped 0.6% and Topix fell 0.3%. Indonesia's Jakarta Composite Index gained 0.5%, while India's Nifty 50 futures pointed to a slight rise at the open. South Korea's Kospi extended its gains with 0.6% increases, recovering some losses from earlier in the week. Wall Street's main indexes closed lower as technology sector losses offset gains in communication services, while investors waited for key inflation reports that may influence the Federal Reserve's next interest rate decisions.
Wall Street's main indexes closed lower on Tuesday as investors awaited key inflation data that could influence the Federal Reserve's decision on interest rates next week. The Dow, S&P 500, and NASDAQ all dropped between roughly 1/3 to 1/4 of a percentage point. Stocks on the move Tuesday included Kroger, which gained 5% after a federal judge blocked its proposed acquisition of rival grocer Albertsons. Shares of Albertsons closed lower. Shares of Walgreens Boots Alliance rallied nearly 18% after reports that it is in talks to sell itself to private equity firm Sycamore Partners. Shares of Google parent Alphabet climbed more than 5% after the tech giant unveiled a new generation chip for quantum computing. On the downside, shares of Oracle slid more than 6.5% a day after the cloud computing company missed Wall Street estimates for second quarter results. And shares of luxury homebuilder Toll Brothers fell roughly 7% after its quarterly results beat expectations, but its current quarter forecasts disappointed investors.
Stellantis and CATL said they will invest $4.33 billion to build an EV gigafactory in northern Spain in a bid to cut reliance on Asia and win a green subsidies race with the US. Europe wants to attract EV battery makers to build factories in the region.
A major new factory for building electric vehicle batteries is coming to northern Spain. That was the announcement from auto giant Stellantis and Chinese battery maker CATL Tuesday. The firms said they will invest $4.33 billion in the facility in Zaragoza. They added the 50-50 joint venture is expected to start production by the end of 2026. Europe wants to attract EV battery makers to build factories in the region. It's trying to cut reliance on Asia and win a green subsidies race with the US. The decision to award the factory to Spain comes after it abstained on imposing additional tariffs on Chinese EV imports to the EU. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez urged the EU to reconsider penalising Chinese-made EVs to avoid a trade war. He also met CATL CEO Robin Zeng this week. Chinese companies have to seek approval from Beijing for direct investments overseas. Reuters reported in October that China has privately told automakers to halt big investments in European countries that support imposing extra tariffs. Spain is Europe's second largest car producer. In 2020, it announced a €5 billion plan to attract EV and battery production using EU pandemic relief funds.
Well, that's all from us here at the Nightly Business Report for today. We'll see you again tomorrow with the latest updates across the business globe. Until then, I'm Anuradhi Vikramasinghe. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great night.